There's one more thing. Where are some dead boys here? Because I'm not gonna super highlight it like I did last time. More surface level. But this thing where the devs of this game completely outdone themselves is the detail on the machinery itself. Each little thing you see, each scratch, each crevice, blanks and stuff, cables, claws, everything is engraved into the model. Every edge, every line. And that is to me fucking insane. And that is to me fucking insane. Really, everything is just here. Yeah? Every bone of this throat. Every cavity back here. The first time I really realized it was on the scarf from the matriarchs of the Nor village. No? Or on the armor from Aloy. And that the ropes are here. You know? And that I especially didn't expect it because the first cave I was in had desks and dishes there that were completely flat. They had these fake 3D painting, hyper-realistic painting on them for shadows and little stones, dust, stuff like that. That would happen in a cave. But they were flat. The more I looked, the flatter they were. And that each machinery, each model in this game has this enormous, this overwhelming amount of detail is still so insane to me. And that is why I loved hunting so much. The sheer amazingness is unreal. Let's talk about the worst part of this game. The worst technical part of this game. Which is drawing distance. At least I think it's what causes this. But the sheer inconsistent way my frames work in this is just so greatly irritating. Like, I can be here, have my 50 something frames running about across machinery and those desert wastelands. And then I come into an outpost with humans and suddenly my frames drop down to 20. And I'm like, hey, why is it? How can this be? And I always accounted for dust and for models in the area. Because those are the most CPU intense stuff I can think of. And since currently my CPU is the weakest part of my computer, this is the thing I most reasonably can assume that it is. And I really like the draw distance for machines, because it's like there, both there. But the draw distance for high detailed textures is way further. And this is where I could argue that Dying Light 2 did an okayish job, and it's the only good thing about that game. Where every texture that was further than that pole would look like shit in order to get the best performance possible for the game. And they would look even muddier than the tree, more like those brown greenish back there, or that one. And I think that is one of the biggest troubles of this game, drawing distance. But that I can be out here, have like I said, my consistent 50 frames, and then go into a city and everything drops. It doesn't matter. Meridian, Mother's End, Shadow Kaja, or even just a little outpost that is made to only guard one fire. Like, not only is that freaking hilarious, that there's an entire small fortress just for one fire, but each time frames drop like nothing. And it's not even the fires themselves, because that would be my first point outer. But we have these fires outside, and they do not cause frame drops. They are quite they have quite low load for the entire system. Man, as you can see, not only alloy, but also the muscles they move on the thing. It's so bloody amazing. It's as if they motion tracked something to mimic these movements. Then maybe size them up or stretch them, like as if they motion tracked a giraffe, you know? So I'm so short to talk about the story again, that I think I'm gonna calm down here. I'm gonna take one more minute to think about maybe if there is something else. I probably should highlight once more that every side mission made me more immersed into the world, especially the is it here? Shattered Killeen? No, that's Bandit Camp. The little fortress that was outside, where we first tested that big grenade launcher dude that we used also in the defense. That was such an amazing weapon. Sadly, the tutorial mission of sorts was not that great, because you fought the cultists, and then they just ran into scenarios where they just got butchered. Like maybe I had trouble as so far that if someone is behind a pillar, I couldn't target him. I would have to indirectly fire at him. But then you spam 8 grenades and then one will guaranteedly hit him behind cover. And a quick follow-up shot with 1 or 2 extra grenades will finish him off. But then the somewhat epic defense of Meridian, where you had to fight off so many Deathbringers, bruh. They put in work. They put in so much work. Especially since Deathbringers reduce your damage by half or even more. And one grenade would deal between 1 and 230. Here we see this dust storm coming in. My frames instantly drop to 25. That is not something I want to say in attack of low frame rate, of performance issues, but more that shows that my CPU is my weakest part of my PC, and my previous CPU also had that problem of rendering dust particles. Yeah. Especially Meridian has all these small things that cause small dust clouds, which is why I guess it's such resource heavy. But then we are also talking about a PS4, which doesn't have a state-of-the-art technology in it, even when consoles release. I always say consoles are achievement PC, because I don't know a better way to describe them. I think that's the most sensible. Like, it's a cheap and affordable one. Even companies sell consoles at a loss and then make their winnings due to the games they sell. That's why they have these console exclusive and don't release them ASAP on PC. Man, I kind of want to shoot these guys, but I shouldn't. So yeah. And on console, often you can get away with 30 frame games, but everything I have right now is basically console quality. Like, this is the origin settings, how it was imagined, and everything is just so sweating when I do this. But the amount of detail that ambient occlusion and anti-aliasing brings is so worth it to play it on low frames. So, what more is there really to say? I love the enemy fidelity. I hate humans in this game, since every area where humans are in this game is a massive frame drop area. The story towards the end, like when I picked up those dialogues, those side dialogues where Silas even told me, hey, not so important. Then we discovered the story that the son, or the youngest son of the old Sun King, had to flee the country because the army was coming and probably would slaughter every royalty in the castle. That was really amazing. That gave us an early introduction to to the Shadow Carja here, and their motivation that they would have someone to claim Olaf Carja, even when they remove the current 14th Sun King. Yeah, it gave them so much more personality, and yeah, you really had, before they were more like a rebellious troop that were enhancing the old status or wanted to enhance the old status, but suddenly they had actually claim that after they had done it, they would not just be oppressors or enslavers, but they would have a Sun King, a legit Sun King to follow. But yeah, then they entirely ruined it with that one side mission where you free that general because he did nothing wrong, and then you instantly free that young Sun King. Like, in a way, I can understand that actions like those need to be swift, but the conclusion were too fast. Yeah. Like, maybe after we recruited that general, he would give us information about the charlatans in that city who are halfway trustworthy and wouldn't betray us if we pay them well and stuff. Then we recruit that Seath guild and work from there. That would have been way more intriguing instead of then instantly jumping to the point where the small sun is out and we bring him over the desert grounds to a boat and into that long drawn out cutscene at the fisherman's port of Meridian. It all felt so awkward and fast. Maybe even having some aftermath interactions with the Shadow Carja would have been nice, just to see how they stand now that they lost their small son. But now they instantly followed us because the general that before had a pay on his head suddenly is the only general in the city and will lead his contingent of warriors to the defense of Meridian. Their strongest enemy 2 days ago. This makes no sense. Makes no sense. This Gaia Prime. I was quite open with my feelings and thoughts about Gaia Prime when we were in there, so I don't think I need to talk much more about it. It was neat, had a lot of plot holes. I already talked about those. I still kinda have to clear this area because I only sneaked up on him but never defeated the eclipse that is fortified there. I also really liked the hunting lodge mission of becoming part of them. That was a really nice one. I wanna just fadily highlight that. Going around, get not only the mission from the bartender where you get the 5 stars on every hunting yard of every hunting ground. That was a nice to have, and then meeting with that hawk woman and getting her as the head of the new hunting lodge. Like, the hunting lodge as a fantasy is completely fine, and I think it kinda shows a good point, the laziness in it. That stuff like that is often a prestige factor, and people that often receive a certain level of prestige only work towards keeping it instead of upholding it or improving it even. Like the story told us, the Sunhawk, the previous one, was only Sunhawk because he brought in the trophy after his predecessor died, and he was the first one to hand in the trophy, so he was or had the best trophy count, so he was the next Sunhawk, not really liking his job. I think he's the only written dislikable character that I actually disliked. Not hated, but disliked. I kinda wish we found a way where he doesn't die, but I don't think it would work, since often it was said that once you have a position, you don't lose it unless you give it up or die. But this is the thing that I don't really quite understand about the hunting lodge is they just had that event where multiple hawks died. They got executed for protecting someone, and not executed. I think they fought and died, but they it's a rule that only a hawk can have a spouse. And what if you only have like 3 hawks left? You know, do you suddenly promote some spouses to hawks? How do you refill those ranks? That would have been nice to at least hear a plan of replenishing other hawks. So, but yeah, I think we have gotten a good ending point here. Talked for more than an hour about this game, which is also nice. Yeah, but like I always say, I always think that I cannot fully represent my points because I am not used to this kind of talking, exposition and stuff. Plus, I freeball it every time. Even so, it's scientifically proven that just sitting down, writing your points down, and then present them is a better method. But hey, I'm a lazy fuck, so that ain't gonna happen here. But let's test one last thing.
Sorry to spoil your fun. No good. It's not gonna even notice me attacking.
Okay, he just ignores me because I'm unreachable. Interesting. Sure. Yeah. This was Horizon Zero Dawn. Maybe I will dub about it in this game in the future. Maybe even go for New Game Plus. But for now, we give it some rest. And see about those other games I got in the summer sale. So, I wish you a good day, good night. See you around.